Hi, this is Dan. We have a 25-song music marathon on WMMS.
We know what you want. More rock and roll, more variety, and fewer interruptions. So MMS has created the music marathon. 10, 20, 30 or more of your favorite songs in a row.
Justin Flash in the morning, and we've got a 15-song music marathon.
I'm Denny Sanders, and I've got a 40-song music marathon.
Go for it. MMS gives you more music. Another reason why when anyone asks what radio station you listen to, tell them Music Marathon. WMMS.
You're in Buzzard Land. WMMS, Cleveland.
The most famous is WMMS. The Buzzard was voted the top rock radio station in America for something like 10 years in a row.
WMMS came out in the 1970s as the biggest radio station in Cleveland. They were breaking national acts like Bruce Springsteen, David Bowie, and Mott the Hoople.
With a powerhouse station like MMS, for example, they could create an act. They could make an act public. That's why acts like Roxy Music and Bowie and Mott the Hoople broke out of here.
Many people consider Bruce Springsteen to really have been broken in this town because the radio stations were so popular, so fond of playing his music. Plus, he had a show at the Agora nightclub here that's one of the most legendary of all shows.
I don't want to go home. Lord, I know this can't wait, but I don't want to go home. I know every baby time can wait, but I don't want to. Listen to the man sing his song, and I don't want to go. I don't mind if it takes all night long, I don't want to go. I know every time they touch the sky, whatever happened to you in time. Lord, look at how all these people in Cleveland stabbed us. That's because in their minds they've opened there, and I don't wanna go home.
And the music director at WMMS at the time was a guy by the name of Denny Sanders. And I told him, I said, I'm looking for something new. I was a program director, and I told Denny I was looking for something new. And he said, well, you know, this is kind of odd, but take a listen to this. And this was David Bowie's Hunky Dory album. And I listened to it, and I said, this is it. This is where we're going.
Then I turned myself to face me, but I never caught a glimpse of how the others must see the faker. I'm much too fast to take that test.
That was the album you could hear the most on WMMS at that time. And then his next album came out, and that was The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust. That was even better. So we continued along, and by the time The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust came out, David Bowie was so big in Cleveland that he could sell out the Public Auditorium 2 nights in a row.
Watch the ripples change the size, but never leave the stream of warm and permanent sand. So the days float through my eyes, but still the days seem the same, just the same, quite the same. And these children that you spit on as they try to change their worlds, they're immune to your consultations. They're quite aware of what they're going through. Changes. Changes. Don't tell us to grow up and out of it.
WMMS and Belkin Productions also both heavily supported local acts like the Raspberries, Michael Stanley Band, and the James.
I remember Michael Stanley telling me, you know, there was a period in I guess it was the early 80s where Elvis was playing like every 20 minutes. It was crazy. He got sick of it.
Radio supported him, and Michael is a monster here, and Michael's still huge here. I also managed James Band. That was the first band that I ever managed, really, was the James Band with Joe Walsh. And we had, we toured Europe, we toured England with The Who. The idea was conceived of by a bunch of folks in New York City, mainly Ahmet Ertegun, who founded Atlantic Records, Jan Winter, who founded Rolling Stone, and a couple more folks, and they put it out for competition for 18 cities. Cleveland showed up, and people were kind of surprised because New York, Los Angeles, New Orleans, Memphis, Chicago, Detroit all had very specific sort of backgrounds and histories. New Orleans being music coming out of the Delta, Memphis where Elvis and sort of black and white music really came together. Detroit was a Motown, Chicago was the blues, and Cleveland really, even though it was a good music city, nobody really had a strong thing. So the people from Cleveland, and when I say the people from Cleveland, people and the citizens on the street, people in government, all came together and decided they should really have it in Cleveland to be a wonderful addition. And they told the story of Alan Freed. The story of Alan Freed is the disc jockey who wound up coining the phrase rock and roll, becoming incredibly important, really being called the king of rock and roll right at the beginning. And they told that story, and that was the story that allowed them to be a competitor. The MMS was such a strong station. There was no other rock and roll station like that in the country that had that power and that strength. So they were able to get together people to vote in the market here and for the Rock and Roll Hall to be here. And also because there were the past influences of rock and roll, you know, back in the 50s, the strong concerts here. So it was, you know, Alan Freed, who was a very strong part of the reason that we got it here.
Cleveland was firmly established as the rock and roll capital of the world when the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was chosen to be situated in Cleveland.